TYT's Ken Klippenstein has an exclusive and an amazing article where he has obtained leaked FBI documents that reveal the Bureau's priorities under Trump. And they kind of underscore some things we'd kind of heard in the past, but definitely prove what a lot of us were afraid of. And let's get right to it. Under President Trump, the FBI's official counterterrorism priorities have included black identity extremists, anti-authority extremists, and animal rights/environmental extremists, according to leaked Bureau documents obtained exclusively by the Young Turks. So grave did the Bureau consider the threat of black extremists, Ken writes, that from 2019 to 2020, using new designations, it listed the threat at the very top of its counterterrorism priorities, above even terror groups like Al-Qaeda.
And guys, in case you think that it was like a random discriminatory list, meaning like, hey, it could have been that they were going to put it in alphabetical order, but they just happened to put the black identity extremists at the top, et cetera. No, it was in order. And white supremacist extremists, which have been doing most of the killings in this country since Trump's taken office, were ranked only a medium threat.
Yeah.
So all these mass shootings, the synagogues, the mosques, the malls, everything, that's a medium threat. At the very top was black people. And the FBI, these are their documents. We obtained their documents. This is not our opinion, okay? Did they cite a single black extremist attack? Not one. Not one.
Can I just say something really quickly about that? Because there is a case, Rakim Balagan, which is often characterized as the first attempted federal prosecution of a black identity extremist since the FBI report about the supposed ideology, which is totally made up and ridiculous. But Balagan, whose legal name is Christopher Daniels, was arrested in December 2017 when officers in riot gear pulled him and his 15-year-old son out of their house and forced them to stand outside in the cold, handcuffed them in their underwear. Balagan spent the next 5 months in jail on a single illegal firearms possession charge. Now remember that, this is gonna be important with what I'm going to contrast this with. While prosecutors tried and failed to paint him as a domestic terrorist. Where did they get this information on Balagan? An FBI agent testified that he had been under surveillance for 2 years since video of him at an open carry rally against police brutality circulated online, including on the right-wing conspiracy site InfoWars.
Right, but
so they're watching Alex Jones websites and going, that's a threat.
But most specifically, it points to a totally natural response to police brutality, the epidemic of police brutality, which is to go somewhere and voice into your First Amendment right to free assembly and protest it. They link the idea of black identity extremism to like the Black Lives Matter movement.
By the way, it's also your Second Amendment right. So what do the right wing say all the time? Hey, listen, if the government becomes tyrannical, that's why we need our guns. The guy shows up at an open carry rally protesting the government. Exactly what the right wing celebrates. That's why we have the Second Amendment. They're like, arrest them, arrest him. He's an extremist. And they listen to maniacs like Alex Jones. Meanwhile, white supremacists are doing massacres all across the country. Medium threat.
There was what happens? Just really quick, there was an awesome BuzzFeed article today chronicling back when the Black Panthers used to do open carry, and all the right wingers who were like, "We need gun control."
Well, that's when the NRA was. That's when the NRA was for gun control. They stopped open carry in the state of California when the Black Panther Party marched to the Capitol with their guns out.
And in fact, the guy who signed that bill into effect was Governor Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, yeah. So I wanted to contrast that situation that I mentioned, the black identity extremists, really quick, to literal militia leader Larry Hopkins, which I know you guys have covered and I have covered in the past as well, who's free to terrorize immigrants. His militia was rounding up migrants at the border, 100 at a time. They portrayed themselves as police officers. Larry had in his record, he was charged with impersonating a police officer in the past, and he was also brought on gun charges, but his investigation and time under police or time behind bars was way shorter than this dude. Okay, so like. Obviously, and we hear about this all the time. There was another guy in the Coast Guard who had like hit list and an arsenal of weapons. He was caught for a second and then they released him once again. Like, this is such a serious threat. And the DOJ and ex-officials inside of the FBI have openly admitted that they've been ringing the alarm bells from inside the house for a little bit. And yet no one seems to care about white supremacy and white supremacist terror, despite the fact that according to the ADL, 99% of all violent extremist murders that occurred in 2018 are all done in the hands of far-right anti-government extremists and incel terror.
Yeah, just to be accurate, 98%.
98, sorry.
Yeah, it's just specifically to your point, Ken goes through and outlines, while 2020 threat guidance alludes to violent black extremist attacks, each of the specific attacks referenced were carried out by white supremacists. The 2018 attack on a synagogue in Pittsburgh, which killed 11, the 2019 attack on 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, which killed 51, and the April 2019 attack on a synagogue in Poway, California.
So the point being there that Haas stretched to find something that they could call black identity extremists. Even that was horribly hypocritical, etc. But the FBI didn't even cite that. They're like, this is our top threat, but we have no specific examples of it. Now, when they get to the other threats, the medium threats, they're like, well, there's like pages of examples of those because those actually happen. Christopher Wray in public, when forced to testify to Congress, said, yes, the majority of the attacks are by white supremacists. But in their own internal deliberations, and they're like, the white supremacists don't look at them too much. For black identity extremists, which is a term that they used before, that was exposed a little while back, and then they took heat for it. So they now came up with a different terminology for it, but it's the same exact language. They lifted the language from black identity extremists and put that same language into this new document, and they still consider them the top threat. And they even have programs like Iron Fist to go after black people in America.
Guys.
Right. Luke Cage was 2 on the nose.
Yeah, the intelligence agencies have never done this historically. This is obviously new stuff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up COINTELPRO. But yes, we have white supremacist institutions that do white supremacy and consider leftist movements subversive and anti-US, and they will do everything in their power, including work with the KKK to make sure that they stop leftist mobilization and civil rights activists from doing what they need to do.
They worked with the KKK in the past, but this is now.
Yeah.
This is as clear an example of government racism institutionalized as I have ever seen.
Yeah. Iron Fist is designated as the term. I just can't believe they call it Iron Fist. It's designed to evolve and adapt to the ever-changing threat posed by black identity extremists.
They're such cowards, dude. They are so scared. Like they're just wetting their diapers every day inside of the FBI. That's what's going on.
Yeah, and so no matter how much white supremacists do the violence, their emotions don't care about facts. So they go, well, I don't know, but I'm scared of black people. So I'm just gonna put them at the top, and I'm gonna spend all of our efforts going after black people and not nearly enough going after the white extremists. And that's why they got away with it and did all these shootings. Do real law enforcement.
Prepare ye, for the day that approaches is the day of the great revolution. Are you ready to rule?
We are ready to rule.
May you live to see the accidental dominance of the white race overthrown.
Cool.
You're gonna pitch me the next 9/11.
What about this guy Moses Shabazz?
Classic lone wolf.
There's 4 of them, actually.
Duckwall.
Pack of lone wolves. How'd that happen?
My mission is to change the lives of poor people without the gun weapon.
Let's offer this Moses Shabazz some funds.
He could set up a meeting with a rich ISIL sheikh.
Perhaps your army needs weapons?
No, we don't believe in guns. If necessary, we'll call on the dinosaurs. At the sound of a trumpet, they will come to our aid.
I think he's delusional.
Yeah, schizophrenia plays.
You're being played, Mo.
What if I'm playing them? Whoever it is playing me.
Could you pay someone to inform upon themselves?
You want to inform on yourself?
Would you be interested?
He's got the threat signature of a hot dog.
Peace, brothers.
Jihad has no off switch. Next thing you know, the Statue of Liberty's wearing a burqa, and we've beheaded Bruce Springsteen.
Just get him back out there to blow up a skyscraper, or I'll drop the case.
Okay, so we have to get him a fake nuke.
I'll take a better idea if you got one. How about not selling nukes to Nazis?
Uranium. To put hair on your chest and make it fall off.
I am just a guy talking to another guy, trying to send a third guy to jail. I'm calling in a full arm response.
Shit, a pineapple. He's unarmed!
Unarmed black man, unarmed white man. Which one's more likely to have the gun?
I'm gonna be sick. It's just the horn they used to summon the dinosaurs.
You think this gonna work out?